Hey, this is Brooks with Character Design Forge. Let's talk about stylization, which casts a big umbrella over things like art for animation and cartooning, basically anything that also involves character design. Now, when you think of stylization, you maybe think of your own art style, maybe another artist's unique or iconic sense of style or the way that they put a unique spin on things, or you just think of stylization as sort of taking something that's realistic looking and distilling it down into very simplified and exaggerated shapes and overall design elements. Now, before we say anything else, if there's one thing that you take away from this video, it's this: draw it the right way before you draw it the wrong way. Stylization is essentially drawing something the wrong way, but intentionally. Now, drawing something the wrong way intentionally probably sounds a bit strange, so let's expand on this idea a bit. Now, there's a certain kind of tortoise and the hare brand of thinking that is especially common among newer artists when it comes to stylization. Now, with this thinking, it may seem like in order to draw something that looks stylized, you only have to study other stylized art. So, for example, to draw something in a Disney style, all you'd have to do is study Disney films exclusively and study their artwork. It may also seem like if you're trying to understand the form of something you're learning to draw, or you're trying to draw something realistically, and it's just proving to be too difficult, that you can take the easy way out and take this shortcut and simply draw something really simplified or stylized. Now, you may make a little bit of progress by doing this, but in the long term, it's really going to come back to bite you. But like we said, stylization is drawing something intentionally the wrong way, or different from the way it's supposed to look realistically. Disney artwork is drawn the wrong way, but on purpose. The eyes are bigger, the features are exaggerated, a lot of shape language and design decisions go into deforming and defining the character away from a realistic aesthetic. The thing is, though, those Disney artists got to where they are the long way round. They learned to draw realistically or made a sincere effort to understand their subject. Something I've mentioned before is this idea of cartoons, which is basically a copy of a copy. At this point, you're imitating someone else's interpretation. And I think by going about this route, making cartoons of cartoons, not only is the quality lacking in the final product, but you're missing a lot of the fundamental skills that go into being an artist. Now, is all of this to say that everything you intend to make, you need to learn how to draw realistically or photorealistically before you even attempt to make it in a stylized or simplified way? Well, it couldn't hurt. For things like human anatomy and the face, I think it's a really good idea to practice drawing these things often, and not interpreting them, but rendering them. Drawing what you see and not what you think you see. That's an age-old art advice right there. Now, a great way to do this is with life drawing, having the human subject in front of you and drawing them realistically. Practicing realism is a definite plus, but in its place, the next best thing is using and studying reference. All artists use reference. Actually, no, only smart and good artists use reference. Hey. With the use of your reference, study the original and try and understand the forms of your subject and the proportion and size of things on your subject in relation to each other. Then do a couple of sketches that really establish these things both in front of you and in your mind. Exercises like this will help the finished product in the short term, but it will also help you as an artist in the long term. Here's a scenario I've brought up before. It's one where a newer artist refutes critique from a source they can trust by saying, "That's just my style, I meant to do that." The problem is that trusted source is probably a more experienced artist, one who recognizes these mistakes not as intentional or stylization, but as unintentional, and they probably just look bad. In order to break the rules in a way that makes sense, we first have to understand them. In order to draw things the wrong way, we have to learn to draw them the right way.